Hey everyone, and welcome back to Horror Movies for Life YouTube channel. And in this video we'll be taking a look at a horror movie from 1982 that I do have the physical media for. In fact, I have Arrow Blu-ray for it. It's the second one I've done in a few reviews here for 1982. The other one being Girls Night Out that I did a few videos ago. But in this video we're going to talk about The Slayer from 1982. And one thing that I'm learning quickly just from this review series is Arrow Blu-ray really does have the best release, it seems like, because they just packed their DVDs and Blu-rays with special features galore. But anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about The Slayer from 1982. So, The Slayer, also known as Nightmare Island, is a 1982 American independent supernatural horror film directed by J.S. Cardone. Set on a small island near the Atlantic coast, the plot concerns two couples who, upon visiting the island, get trapped there due to an oncoming hurricane. As one of the women knows from her plaguing nightmares that the island is dangerous, over the next 3 days they begin to be killed by something unseen. The film is notable for gaining notoriety and being classified in the United Kingdom as a video nasty in the 1980s. So the movie opens with Kay as an abstract visual artist plagued since childhood by disturbing dreams. The intensity and frequency of the dreams have fluctuated throughout her life, as has their content. Some of her dreams are simply glimpses of desolate locations that leave her feeling dread upon awakening, while others feature the gruesome deaths of her friends and loved ones at the hands of a supernatural force. Recently, her dreams have become more frequent and disturbing than ever, resulting in a shift in the quality of her work. Afraid that the dreams are aggravated by stress and depression, and fearful that her newfound success may be slipping away, Kay's family and friends plan a vacation for her to a small island off the coast of Georgia. Accompanying Kay are her husband, David, Kay's brother, Eric, who introduced her to David, and Eric's wife, Brooke. As the couple's plane prepares to land, their pilot, Marsh, informs them that he's just received notification that an Atlantic hurricane has shifted course towards the island. Marsh hurriedly drops the couple off, telling them that they must leave the island before he's stranded there. The couples discover that, against expectations, the island is deserted and mainly populated by derelict buildings and the ruins of a once thriving resort town. Kay informs the rest of the quartet that the island is the place she's been dreaming about since childhood and that they are all in danger if they stay there. Unable to leave due to the hurricane, the others try to assuage. They try to comfort her fears, basically. Assuage, I think is the word, assuage her fears. So yeah, that's the setup and the premise, the beginning of The Slayer from 1982. As far as the cast goes, we have Sarah Kendall as Kay, Frederick Flynn as Eric, Carol Cottonbrook as Brooke, Alan McRae as David, and Michael Holmes as Marsh. So that's the setup, the premise, and the cast for the 1982 supernatural horror movie The Slayer. I like this movie, and in fact, I like it more the more I've thought about it. This is one of those movies that kind of stays with you, which is very much a positive when you consider... See, it's interesting because a lot of people call this a slasher movie, but here it says American independent supernatural horror film. I guess it could be construed as a slasher movie. I've seen a lot of people review it as a slasher movie. It could go either way, in my opinion. I mean, if Nightmare on Elm Street is a slasher movie, a supernatural slasher, then this one certainly could be too. But this movie's got a lot to it, and I don't know, I enjoyed it. I found it to be unique, and like I said, it stayed with me afterwards, which right off the bat, that tells you something about the movie. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it, starting with the things that I liked about The Slayer, or Nightmare Island, if you will. It has a very unique premise and story, a story structure with a lot of ambiguity, especially at the end of the movie, and I really like that. It makes it stand out from the other slashers or even horror movies during that time of the early 80s. I don't want to give too much away here. This is a spoiler-free review, but let's just say the ending kind of throws everything for a tizzy there. Um, some people aren't going to like that. I liked it. I think it works. I think it's unique. But yeah, I just really like the story structure and how this movie is structured all together. Very unique. The setting of this coastal island is very effective, and it's an isolating setting for the characters that we follow, and I just think that's just a great horror setting in general. So yeah, that's another thing that really stood out to me in a positive manner. The movie's really atmospheric between the music, the effects, like the storm that's going on, and just the way that it's shot. I found a lot of great atmosphere in the movie that I wasn't really expecting. And then on top of that, there's a lot of dreams and things going on. And because of that, it has kind of like a dreamlike atmosphere going on. Now you might say, I guess I'll get into this now. But if you've watched my channel over the years, you know that I'm not a big fan of like dream sequences. But I should put that caveat that I only don't like dream sequences when they're like a cheap jump scare, or like a cheap way of putting our main character into peril, and then finding out, oh no, we got you. That's all a dream. This is different when the movie's actually about dreams, kind of like Nightmare on Elm Street, when the dreams actually play in to the plot of the movie, as this movie does. Then I'm all about dreams. I find dreams to be very fascinating. In fact, even outside the horror realm, that's kind of an interest that I have, like researching dreams and what it means and all that kind of crap. I'm into that. So I just want to throw that caveat out, because I know some people might throw that back at me saying, well, you don't like the dream sequences. No, I just don't like the dream sequences in movies where dreams aren't part of the story or the premise, but they use it as a way to try to get us tied up in the main character being put in danger, but they're not really put in danger. And then they wake up and we find out it's a dream. That's cheap to me. That's what I don't like. So anyway, just wanted to throw that in here. But the great atmosphere in this movie, definitely one of the things that stood out the most. I also think the acting is quite good in this movie, especially by Sarah Kendall, who plays Kay, who's the woman in this movie that has these visions, these premonitions, these dreams, if you will. I thought she does a very good job, especially as the movie goes on. I mean, there's a scene towards the end when she's greeted by someone or something at the door as she's trying to escape. And I just thought her acting was great. Very realistic, very... you felt it. You felt it as a viewer. You could really feel what she was going through. And that's just a great acting performance. But I really thought the whole cast, and it's not a big cast, there's only about 5 or 6 people in this entire movie, but I thought everybody does a good job, especially as the movie goes on and the danger ratchets up, basically. I also think the effects of the kills are pretty unique and effective in this movie. There is a good amount of blood and gore. I'm not going to say it's an overly bloody or gory movie. I was a little surprised to see that it was a video nasty movie, but... it is there. I mean, there's not a lot of kills in this movie, only like 4, I think overall, 4 or 5, I think 4. But when we do get kills, they're pretty effective and pretty bloody, and they're effective in terms of how people are killed. It's not all just slash. There's different ways, different kills. So the uniqueness as well as the blood involved and the gore and the effects of those, I thought were all very effective within the movie. The look of the creature that we eventually see towards the end of the movie, we don't see it a lot, only for like 4 seconds. But I thought it was really impactful. I mean, you have all this buildup of tension of who's doing this and everything, and the movie kind of plays like what's going on, like a mystery slasher, like a mystery horror movie. We don't really see who's doing these killings. Which is part of the ambiguity behind this movie. But then there is one point where we see this creature, this like skull with all the slime and shit on him, and like I said, you don't see it for very long, and there's probably a good reason for that. I'm sure if they focused on it too much, you'd probably see some of the faults in the effects, but I didn't see it for the amount of time that we saw it. I thought it was a very effective creature look. You can kind of see some of it here on the cover, although that's even... Yeah, I guess that's pretty close to what it looks like in the movie. So that was really effective for me, very impactful in the movie with everything that was built up to what we see is doing the killings on this island. Yeah, I really liked that. And then I thought, for me, this might be a personal thing, but the ending worked for me. Just with the way the whole movie's set up. I mean, it's not like a tacked on ending. It's an ending that it plays into the whole movie as it goes along. Now, like I said earlier, some people aren't going to like this ending. It's going to ruin the movie for them, even. That wasn't the case for me, and I think it's because of the uniqueness of it. Maybe because I've watched so many slasher movies from the early 80s, the first 3 years so far, that I like the idea of something different. But it's a pretty crazy twist at the very end, like the last scene of the movie, and it all sort of ties into the dreams and the premonitions that our character of Kay is having. That's the reason why it works for me. It wasn't just like out of the blue, like they didn't know how to end the movie, so let's just have this crazy, wacky ending that nobody saw coming. No, it actually does fit. And again, it might anger some people, but I think if you really watch the movie again a couple of times and you really think about it with the ending that we get in mind, it works. It works because things are referenced throughout the movie that kind of make this ending work. So I really like that as an ending twist. I thought it was very unique and effective for what was set up ahead of time. So yeah, a lot of pros, a lot of things I liked about The Slayer from 1982. Let's go ahead and talk about what I didn't like about the movie, which isn't a whole lot, to be honest with you. But I did think this is only like an 85-minute movie, so not even an hour and a half. And I thought that they even stretched it a bit to make it that. Because there are several scenes that dragged a bit. Like when there's three characters that are looking for the fourth character who had been killed at this point, but they don't know that yet. It felt like they were calling his name on the island for a good 10 minutes of the movie. Like between two different days, too, like night and day. And that went on a little bit long for me. You could just tell that some of the scenes had filler. Some of the movie itself had filler in it. I just kind of wanted it to move on. But if they would have done that, it probably would have been a 70-minute movie. And they probably needed to make it 85. So... and then I will say I wish there were a few more kills. I also wish we would have saw the creature because of the look and how impactful it was. I wish we would have saw it a little bit more, even if it was in the shadows, to kind of take away from maybe some of the effects that wouldn't hold up if you focused on it for the long term. But I just really like the look of the creature, and I wish we would have seen it more, and I wish we would have had a couple of more kills. There's also no nudity in this movie, which that's kind of a nitpick. It's not a huge deal, but if you are going to be a slasher movie, that's kind of par for the course, especially for 1982. So that's a pretty small nitpick, though, to be honest with you. I think my biggest gripe is just the pacing of the movie and having the scenes go on a little bit longer than they should have. So yeah, that's really all I've got, though, as far as cons go. Overall, guys, I really like this movie, and I think I'm going to like it even more upon rewatch. So I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. I really like The Slayer from 1982. I didn't know bupkis about it going into it, but I'm glad that I have it in my collection. I'm really glad I have an Arrow Blu-ray of it with all these special features, which I have yet to watch. If you want to pause it there, you can kind of see what we got. But again, just like Girls' Night Out, you've got interviews, you've got documentaries, you've got the 4K scan, of course, from the negative, all the normal stuff. But a lot of stuff. Still gallery, original theatrical trailer. You name it. Arrow does it right. So anyway, 8 out of 10 for The Slayer from 1982. Go ahead and comment down below if you've seen this movie, if you've heard about it, any questions or thoughts you have about it. Did you like it? Did you not? Comment down below. Please like this video, hit the little notification bell, and please subscribe to my channel. If you haven't already and you're new here, it would really help me out in the future of my channel and as it relates to content that I'm going to have on my channel. So with all that being said, I hope you guys are enjoying these 1982 movie reviews as part of my overall 1980s horror series. I still have a couple more to go for the month here, so stay tuned. But with that being said, I hope everybody's doing well. But as always, stay scared. Bye.